What's up guys, my name's JTM and on the 25th of April I was at the National Exhibition of Garden Varieties. We start off with this very pretty shade. Then I saw this coffee pot. Followed by this electric double fairlane. On the day, there was a wide range of electric and live steam models. At this point, I managed to overtake the same Shay and get another shot of it coming through a very picturesque lumberyard. Then I saw this mixed layout, with a mix of G-scale around the outside and 32mm gauge SM32 on the inside. Then there was another G-scale layout. Then this very large looping SM32 layout with some very, very impressive modelling. And this is what I mean by the very impressive modelling. Who goes to these lengths? Why did they do this? It's very impressive, but why? Then I saw this Roundhouse Engineering Linda. Then I saw this very interesting chain-driven locomotive. And another Linda. Then I saw the Gauge 1 Society with their old paraffin burning locomotives. They're very nice.
I've said this now. I've got my I think it's in about stewarding.
In this BR Standard Class 4, began to move. It even did a flyby for us. I have no idea what this is, but it's quirky and I like it. Then this gorgeous steam tram began to run on the main layout. I really like these wartime locomotives, I think they're very cool.
My loco set.
Yet another Linda. I don't know why these things are so popular, but they are. Shortly followed by this beautiful American locomotive. I really do love American stock. Then there was this lovely steam tram. Then there was a nice saddle tank.
It does look a really nice train.
Moving to another layout, there was another saddle tank. Then this Great Western Prairie tank. And this Great Western Hall. Then I got a nice shot of two Billies next to a Jack. Then this nice logo. I don't know what it is, but I like it a lot. Then I saw this burgundy saddle tank. Then this roundhouse Merrysider slids through the points very gracefully. Next, there was this very large coal-fired saddle tank. I really liked this. And of course, it being a show, there were a large number of stalls and traders in attendance. Then back on the main layout, this very nice Lady Anne roundhouse model. Another roundhouse model, yes. Then this live steam Prince model, which I really liked. It might have been Palmerston, I'm not sure. Then another shade. Unfortunately, the show ran out of gas and steam trying to leave the yard. I don't know what this saddle tank is, but I do know that the owner saw the short of it running. It's a very nice logo.
It's a bit weird. I hope we fix it when we get home and it's just a simple... I think it probably just needs a new charger. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, but it won't, it won't be impossible. Have you enjoyed the game anyway? Yes, I'm going to the dance and stand up. Look at that's a major part. First time I batted, the batting was going from basically running circles around the area. Yeah, and at the end.
Turns out the owner managed to get his Shay running in the end after all. Don't know what this tender engine is, but it's big and I quite liked it. It was a bit of an awkward runner, but when it did run well, it ran really, really well. It was a lovely thing. And we finish off with the Bulldog. I'm receiving one of these later this year, so expect to see a lot more of it. And that brings us to the end of our day here. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe leave a like or subscribe, and I hope you come back next time. I have no more content, so I don't know when that'll be. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.